Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of This Week with Carolina Commits, a show where we look past the stars and the rankings and we evaluate the on-field performance of UNC commits. I'm THI staff writer Brandon P. Joining me, as she always does, is the director of football recruiting here at Tar Heel Illustrated. That's Miss Dina King. And Dina, we are now in the third round of the playoffs, at least here in the state of North Carolina. So things are getting tight. A lot of teams are getting eliminated. We're actually going to get to the point where we run out of players to do this with eventually. So the teams that are playing, we have some really good competition. So what we do, if you are new to the show, we usually go through the top 5 performances of the past week from UNC football commits. So we're going to just jump right into the list. And number 5 today, we have Ashton Woods out of Walton High School down in Georgia, who is 11-0. They defeated Mountain View 66-7. What did Ashton do to make his name on this list this week?
Ashton is a big-time linebacker, 4-star out in Georgia. He's had a really good senior year. He had 7 tackles and 2 tackles for loss for Walton in that big win. He even came up for the Duke game. He was there on campus to see UNC's big double overtime win against Duke. So Ashton Woods is – his team is really good. You said 11-0, and they're cruising on into the next round of the state playoffs.
Yeah, when you're playing in the playoffs and your team is winning 66-7, that's usually a pretty good sign that your team is at least a contender for the state championship. Going into the next person we have on our list is Mr. Keenan Jackson out of Weddington High School. His team is 10-2. This past week, they competed in the second round of the North Carolina State playoffs. They defeated Chambers 14-10. But what did Keenan do specifically to earn his spot on the list this week?
Well, he had 8 receptions for 99 yards, didn't have a touchdown. But, in a low-scoring game, he was really big. Big honor for him in that game. He broke the school single-season receiving record. So Jackson continues to have an outstanding senior year and is going to be one of those wide receivers that Coach Lonnie Galloway and Coach Mac Brown will be counting on to come in and help the Tar Heels in the next few seasons.
Yeah, I don't think enough can be said about the job that Lonnie Galloway has done recruiting in his room. It's just so many talented players, and they come in year after year after year. Speaking of future UNC wide receivers, the next person on our list is Javarius Green out of Crest High School. They're also undefeated, 12-0. They defeated Statesville this past week, 28-16. What did Javarius do to earn his spot on the list?
He only caught like 5 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown. That's just a typical game for Javarius. Crest has an outstanding football team, 12-0, and they will be playing a very good opponent, West Charlotte, in the third round. But Javarius is a threat to score. Anytime he gets the ball in his hand, he's a threat on special teams and obviously a threat in the passing game. So another big performance for him.
Yeah, he's certainly a home run hitter. I don't remember a time that he's made this list where he's had like double digit catches for 100 yards. It's always like 4 or 5 catches for 150 yards. It's just always making big plays. The next person on our list, we have Mr. Ryan Ward. He actually made the list. I believe he was our number one. He was in our number 1 spot last week. Ryan Ward plays for Rutherford, who lost their first game of the season to Westwood in the playoffs, 20-7. But can you talk about his performance individually to earn his spot on this list?
Well, like I said last week, he has had a superb senior year on both sides of the ball and, helped lead that Rutherford to third round, a great season. He just came up short. But he had 10 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and an interception in that game. And, with an effort like that, he left it all on the field. And I'm just excited to see what he will bring to UNC, where, that tight end room is very talented, and Coach Kitchens is bringing in a lot of good talented tight ends, and Ryan Ward is an athlete, and we will just see how what all happens when he gets to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, the more that I think about this, I do think eventually he'll end up playing tight end just because of how athletic he is. UNC's probably going to lose some tight ends they need to replace. I think he ended up playing tight end. The last spot on our list, the number one spot for the week, goes to future quarterback, 2025 quarterback Bryce Baker out of East Forsyth High School. They lost to Independence this past week, 34-28. They finished the season 10-2. What did Bryce do to earn his spot on the list this week?
It's just like he's consistent every week. I mean, he's 19 of 36 throwing the ball for 248 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's like he's always around 60% completions, over 250 yards passing, and multiple touchdowns every week that he played. And that's what you want your quarterback to do. And he led a really good East Forsyth team, and they lost to a very good Independence team that's really hot right now. And so he finishes his junior campaign, and he will certainly be working on all of his skills. I know he's constantly in contact with Coach Chip Lindsey, and he was there for the Duke game as well. So being committed is he's pretty solid to the Tar Heels, and we're anxious to see what he does this coming spring and in the next fall.
Yeah, I'm certainly excited to see his growth. All right, the next part of the show is where we talk about the games coming up this coming week that UNC fans should be on the radar. That should be on UNC fans' radar. I'm sorry. The first game we have is Hough at Grimsley. Watch UNC fans be. This is the third round of the North Carolina playoffs, so I mean that's a good reason to be interested. But why else should UNC fans be interested in this game?
This could be, I mean, I know East-West for state championship, but this could be a Western Regional Championship game in the third round because Grimsley is seeded like fourth, and they're 12-0, and they are loaded with D1 talent, and especially North Carolina fans are tuned in to UNC commit Alex Taylor, wide receiver, that's had a really good, solid senior campaign. And let's face it, Grimsley's loaded with all kinds of talent. I mean, Bryce Davis is a 2025 defensive end, a 4-star. Quarterback Faison Brandon, 2026. He's going to probably be a 4-star. They've not come out with not a lot of. I believe they got a top 100 in the 2026 class, but Faison Brandon will probably be a 4-star prospect when they start ranking all the 2026 kids. Got multiple offers from everywhere and has been at UNC multiple times, and they're playing at home, and they're playing against the Hough Huskies, who they're a program that produces D1 talent just every year, multiple kids. You look at on football games on Saturday, there's Hough kids playing everywhere, and so they got Samari Matthews, who's a 2026 4-star cornerback that's really high on UNC's list. And then they, I know he's going to Clemson, but Carolina tried to get him. Nolan Hooser, the kicker, who is a national record holder in field goals. So big game in Greensboro Friday night.
All right, the next game on our list, we have West Charlotte at Crest. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, you've got a very good West Charlotte team they're really tough defensively, and they're playing against Crest and Javarius Green, who we mentioned above, a very explosive offense that Crest has there. That's the third round matchup. Crest is the number 1 seed. West Charlotte is 8th, even though West Charlotte, I believe, could be up much higher. But the way the seeding processes are, this is a good matchup. And if you're in Cleveland County area, that would be the game to go to.
Yeah, and the last game on our list for the games you should look for this upcoming week is McDonald versus Archbishop Spalding. Why did this game make your radar?
Well, this is in Maryland, and this is a state Class A in the Maryland, I believe, MAIA, I guess that would be Maryland Independent Athletic Association state championship. Camden Laudenslager, who is a 2025 commit for UNC, is playing in that game. Archbishop Spalding beat Madun of earlier this year, so it's a revenge game for them. And anytime a kid can play for a state championship, it's huge. So that's why it made my top 3 games this week.
Well, Dina, I think we did it. I think it's a great place to stop. For TarHeelIllustrated.com, I've been Brandon P. She's been Dina King. Thank you for watching.